Hi, I'm Casey, host of the Casefile podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about Boost Mobile, offering reliable nationwide coverage backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Love your service or get your money back, no questions asked. With Boost Mobile, you get nationwide coverage and fast network speeds at a fraction of the price. Why pay more for the same great service? Unlimited plans start at just $25 a month, and you won't be sacrificing coverage to save. So why wait? Start saving with Boost today. The Boost mobile network, together with their roaming partners, covers 99% of the US population. 5G speeds not available in all areas. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store or find us online at boostmobile.com. Money back guarantee. Try Boost Mobile risk-free for 30 days. If you don't like us, you get your money back. Requires port-in and auto-pay. Customers who cancel within 30 days of activation will have Boost service fees refunded. Activation fees, if applicable, and phone payments will not be refunded.
This episode is brought to you by Paranormal Playback, a new podcast where hosts Shar, Mel and Laura recap the spooky and entertaining world of paranormal reality TV. Each week they take a fresh look at popular shows like Ghost Adventures and Kindred Spirits, blending humour with insight as they pull apart what's happening on screen. The three of them are a mix of believers and skeptics, which makes for really fun conversations, sometimes leaning into mystery, other times asking the questions viewers might be thinking themselves. With their background in creative production, they know how these shows are put together, so they're great at pointing out the moments that feel real versus the ones that might be more for the cameras. And their segment, This Old Haunt, digs into the true crime side of paranormal investigations, separating fact from fiction. With Halloween coming up, it's the perfect time to add something spooky, funny and a little addictive to your playlist. For even more spooky, ghostly, paranormal content with a humorous spin, go check out Paranormal Playback. The real tragedy isn't what happened, it's what was allowed to stay hidden. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Scary. As always, before we get into this week's episode, we need to say a special thank you to our new Patreon subscribers who are Judy G, Bill Halsley, Keith Kimura, Caitlin Capper and Joanne G. Sorry if I butchered some surnames there. Thank you so much for signing up to the show's Patreon, and if this is something you're interested in, you can find a link in this episode show notes, or you can also go to patreon.com/scaryaparanormalpodcast, where you'll gain access to ad-free main episodes as well as exclusive scary episodes. And I just want to say thanks so much to everybody who has joined the Patreon. It really does mean so much, and it just helps me continue with the show. But now, let's get into our next paranormal case. In January 1981, an announcement was made that would change the skyline of Manila and the course of many lives. With millions in public funds, the government set out a plan to build a national media temple, a shining monument of art, ambition, and everything they wanted the world to see. This wasn't just about constructing another building. The plan included launching an international film festival, establishing a state-of-the-art film laboratory, and creating a national archive, all centred around a massive media centre that would raise near the bay, right in the heart of the capital. On paper, the vision was impressive, but not everyone was convinced. Concerns quickly emerged, not just about the cost, which hovered near $25 million, but about the impossible timeline. To open in time for the scheduled festival in early 1982, the entire complex needed to be completed in less than 12 months. The woman leading the charge was Betty Benitez, a close associate of the then First Lady, Imelda Marcos. Undeterred by criticism, she mobilised an enormous labour force of over 4,000 workers operating in 3 rotating shifts, working around the clock. The push was relentless. Every delay was a threat to the launch date. Within days, steel beams were rising, concrete was pouring, and the skeletal frame of the building began to take shape. The workforce, though, exhausted, moved at a breakneck speed, silencing early doubters with their progress. The lobby alone, a massive area of reinforced concrete, was completed in just 3 days, a feat that would normally take 6 weeks. But speed has a price. It happened in the early hours of November 17th, 1981, just before dawn. A loud crack echoed through the stillness as one of the upper floors gave way. The newly poured concrete, combined with hastily installed scaffolding and poor load management, created the perfect storm. In seconds, entire sections of the structure came crashing down. Workers were thrown from beams, others were crushed under slabs of concrete. Some were impaled by jagged steel rods. The chaos loud, fast and fatal. But the worst was still to come. The cement hadn't fully dried. It clung to boots, to legs. To those who had survived the initial collapse, ran to help and were caught. The ground itself turned against them, hardening with every minute. Some begged to be pulled free, others sank beneath the surface, entombed while still alive. And then, silence. When Betty arrived on site, she didn't call for a full-scale rescue. Instead, the military was ordered to secure the area. Journalists were kept out, no photos, no headlines. The official story was kept quiet. Hours passed before any real aid was allowed in. By then, it was too late for many. Those trapped and still alive were dug out however possible. For some, it meant having limbs amputated on site. And of course, not all of them survived the process. As for the dead, those embedded too deep, they were left. The site was levelled. New concrete was poured directly over their bodies. The work continued the next morning. No mourning period, no memorial, just silence and cement. Despite the disaster, the schedule held. Just weeks after the collapse, the Manila Film Centre opened its doors. The inaugural Manila International Film Festival launched in January 1982, right on time. The red carpet was rolled out, flashbulbs popped. Delegates and celebrities from around the globe gathered to celebrate the rise of a new cultural monument. But beneath the marble floors and polished chandeliers were bodies. Most guests had no idea what had happened just weeks earlier, no public record, no official acknowledgement. But something was wrong. Whispers spread almost immediately, quiet rumours about strange feelings and unexplained incidences. Some guests, mostly women, reported that their gowns had been mysteriously stained. The marks looked like wet cement, or in some cases, blood. But nothing was leaking. Nothing in the building could explain it. Inspections turned up. Nothing. And yet the stains kept appearing. Others began to feel unwell. Some collapsed on the floor, overwhelmed by a wave of intense cold. Several people claimed they felt as though something heavy had pressed down on their chest, pinning them to the ground. One woman said it felt like being held down by hands she couldn't see. One former usher who worked at the centre during its opening week told a reporter years later, "It was like there was something watching us all the time. I didn't see anything, but I felt it, especially in the hallways. And one night I swear I heard someone whisper, 'Too long,' right behind me. But I was completely alone." And for you listeners, too long means help. Dozens of these cases were reported during the opening week, so many that an ambulance was stationed outside. Organisers, desperate to keep the festival running, brought in Catholic priests to perform a blessing on the site. They walked the halls, sprinkled holy water, prayed in every room. When they left, they reportedly told staff that they had done all they could, but they wouldn't be coming back. Not all the reports came from festival guests. One of the most chilling accounts came from someone trained not to believe in ghosts at all, a government security officer. In the days leading up to a scheduled visit from the First Lady, members of the presidential security group were dispatched to sweep the building. They moved room to room, checking corners, testing locks, preparing for the arrival of VIPs. That night, one of the agents broke off from his team to investigate a disturbance in a lower hallway. He thought he saw somebody moving in the dark ahead, a figure slipping just out of view. He shouted a warning, but there was no answer. He gave chase, following the silhouette down a corridor, past several empty rooms. Then, without warning, the figure turned a corner and vanished through a locked door.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit when other lenders say no. Apply in minutes and get a decision as soon as the same day. If approved, applications are typically funded the next business day or sooner. Loans offered by NetCredit or lending partner banks and serviced by NetCredit. Application subject to review and approval. Learn more at netcredit.com/partner. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
I'm Dr. Sarah Rahal, the founder and CEO of Armra. I developed Armra Colostrum because I know your body was designed to thrive. It's your natural state, your birthright, and you can reclaim it. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, with every essential nutrient our bodies need. It's nature's original blueprint for health. After a devastating health crisis almost took my life, I made it my mission to harness this power. Using proprietary technology, Armra captures over 400 bioactive nutrients in every scoop, delivering over 1,000 benefits that transform your health at its foundation. Whether for gut health, metabolism, skin, hair, immunity, mood, energy, fitness, or recovery, I invite you to join this collective revival of health and discover radical transformation for yourself. Visit armra.com, that's ARMRA.com, and enter code CULTURE30 for 30% off your first subscription order. This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey everybody, it's Babs. You know, one thing that makes the holiday season so magical is the traditions we share year after year. And that's why I'm so excited to tell you about Birch Lane. Their classic furniture and festive decor is carefully crafted to bring joy to every seasonal celebration. Plus, it's delivered fast and free, so you can start spreading the holiday cheer. Shop my hand-picked Birch Lane collection and more classic styles at birchlane.com.
Backup was called. The agent kicked the door open and swept the room, but it was empty. No exits, no windows, no sign that anyone had ever been there. That's when it happened. A coldness fell over him, the kind that tightens your chest and numbs your fingers. He froze, couldn't move, couldn't speak. And then in the dark, right beside his ear, a voice whispered a single word. Too long. Help. The Filipino word for it. Too long. A soft but desperate plea. When the others found him, he was backed into a corner, his weapon drawn, shaking uncontrollably. Whatever he had heard, whatever had reached out from the dark, it had left him terrified. After the festival ended and the lights faded, the Manila Film Centre was left mostly dormant, a monument with grandeur on the outside and silence on the inside. For years the building stood largely unused. Time passed. The events of 1981 faded into whispers, and like any place with a dark history, it began to attract the curious. Local kids, teenagers from the city would sneak in through broken windows or rusted side doors. They'd explore the abandoned theatres and empty corridors, daring each other to go further into the dark. One story has circulated for years. A group of boys broke in during the day, thinking it would be safer. Sunlight poured through the cracks in the ceiling. Everything looked calm, empty. But as they wandered deeper, things began to shift. The light grew dim. The temperature dropped. The further they went, the harder it became to see. One boy said the air felt like it had thickened, like something invisible was pushing against them. Then they noticed the walls. Concrete made to be solid was dripping. Long, slow trails of wet cement rolled down the surface, thick and grey like the walls themselves were bleeding. The boys turned to leave, but one of them stopped. He looked down and screamed. From the concrete floor a hand had emerged. Pale, blood-stained, bones visible beneath half-hardened cement. Its fingers were locked tightly around his leg. He yanked free and bolted, the others sprinting behind him. They didn't stop running until they were miles from the building. And when they did, one of them noticed bruises on the boy's leg, in the shape of a handprint. Not a mark from a fall, but a grip. In the early 2000s, the Manila Film Centre found a new life. The building was leased to a company called Amazing Philippines Theatre, which transformed the space into a venue for live performances and variety shows. The ghosts, however, did not leave the old scaffolding. Not long after the performances began, a tragedy occurred. A young woman, a cast member of one of the shows, was found dead on the steps of the theatre. Her death was quickly ruled as suspected overdose. The police barely investigated, but those who knew her said she wasn't using drugs. She'd been happy, focused, and terrified of being left alone in the building after dark. Ever since that night, her presence has been seen around the centre, or at least someone that looks like her. Performers have reported seeing a woman slowly walking across the stage during rehearsals. A woman no one recognises. She never speaks, never looks up, and then she vanishes. Some nights she appears outside, just standing there, near the stairs where she died. Several taxi drivers have shared the same story. A woman hails them near the film centre in the early hours of the morning. She's pale, barefoot, and clutching her arm like she's been hurt. She asks for help. She says she needs to get to the hospital. The driver agrees, but somewhere along the drive, mid-conversation, she disappears from the back seat. For decades, the government denied that anyone was buried in the Manila Film Centre. Officials insisted all the bodies had been recovered, that the tragedy was tragic but clean. But the truth was messier. There were no full lists of the dead, no complete records, no public memorial, and yet the stories persist. From the workers who say that they watched bodies disappear beneath the cement, to the families who have never received closure, to the guests, performers, guards and taxi drivers who've encountered something or someone still trying to speak. And some say the energy in that building changed forever after the collapse, that the cement holds more than steel and sand, it holds memory and grief. Whether or not you believe in spirits, the Manila Film Centre stands as a warning that when we rush to celebrate greatness, sometimes we bury the cost. And if we're not careful, it finds a way to rise again. If you've ever visited the film centre or have your own story about this place, I would love to hear from you. You can send your experience to scaryaparanormalpodcast@gmail.com, or if you have your own paranormal experience that you'd like me to narrate in the show, you can also send that to the email address. I do have some stories that I still need to create into future episodes, but that doesn't mean I don't want your stories, so please do send them in if you have them. Besides that, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Don't forget to press that follow button so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you like what you hear, please give the show a review or tell a friend. It greatly helps the show get discovered. Thank you for listening, and join me next time for another episode of Scary.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more, or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Hey neighbor, celebrate the holidays with Birch Lane. Our timeless furniture and decor are delivered for free in days, not weeks. It's classic style for joyful living. Shop Birch Lane, a Wayfair specialty brand at birchlane.com.
When the flu is keeping you up at night, don't try to tough it out. Knock out your flu symptoms with NyQuil Intense Flu. You got this. It provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep well through the night. NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching, fever, best sleep with a flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.